Hello, internet fans, and welcome to 3B Video. I'm your host, Rotten Roger DeMarco, and today we're going to be talking about my top 5 horror films from 1989.
Oh yeah.
So here we are, the end of the 80s, so we got to go out with a bang. I'm going to offer a personal disclaimer for the way that I do these lists. The way that I do these rankings is not by which film is the best, technically speaking. The way that I rank these films is just by the amount of fun that I have with these films. So my list and your list are most likely going to be way different, and that's totally cool.
Because everybody likes their own flavor of popcorn.
But with that being said, let's get into my top 5 horror films from 1989. Coming in at number 5 is Rob Hedden's Jason Takes Manhattan. It's no surprise that this movie made the list. Jason is my homeboy, so I had to do it. I know a lot of people shit on this movie because it spends 90% of the runtime on a boat and then the other 10% pretending that Canada is New York. But hey,
What are you gonna do?
we got Kane Hodder, perpetually slimy, oozing around, causing havoc, punching people's heads off, and doing what he does best. Also, sidebar, he kills Ken Kersinger, who ended up taking his place as Jason in Freddy vs. Jason.
So,
This movie is universally hated by Friday the 13th fans, but not here in 3B Video. We champion this movie, we love this movie. It's got everything you want. Kane Hodder smoking like 25 teenagers, boobs, and a fair amount of gore. So I know there's negativity out there about this movie, but not in here, so it had to make the list. But moving on to my number 4 horror film from 1989 is David Irving's Chud 2.
the chud.
I'm gonna do that joke every time I talk about this movie, which I just did, and you can watch it in one of these corners. But it had to make my list because it's just too much fucking fun. I really enjoy this movie. I think it's leaps and bounds better than the first Chud movie. Go ahead, give me a thumbs down for that if you're a Chud purist.
I don't care.
I'm saying that. You can't make me not say that. I don't know what else you want from me. I'm a diehard Garrett Graham fan. I'm gonna get I Heart Garrett Graham right here. Next tattoo, I promise.
I fucking dare you.
I'm doing it.
Do it. I fucking dare
I
you.
will. So it had to make the list. If you love fun, watch Chud 2. I promise you'll have a good time. But moving on to my number 3 horror film from 1989 is Scott Spiegel's Intruder. Do you want to watch a movie that feels like a Sam Raimi movie, but it's not quite a Sam Raimi movie?
You do.
Then Intruder is right up your motherfucking alley. This is a movie about a grocery store that's closing down. So this is like the final last couple of days of the grocery store. And before they can close up, someone is offing them one at a time. It's got some of the best K&B effects you'll ever see in your life. Just fantastic gore, really creative camera angles that you would expect from Sam Raimi. So you can tell that he had like his hand in the cookie jar with this movie. This also has his brother Ted Raimi and Bruce Campbell in it. So if you need your Bruce Campbell fix, I mean, even though it's fucking minuscule, this movie will do it. But if you're a big fan of Ted Raimi and splatter effects and just a weird, quirky slasher, this one will do it. So it totally had to make my list. But moving on to my number 2 horror film from 1989, Mary Lambert's Pet Sematary.
Gross.
If you're a longtime subscriber to this channel, you've heard me talk about how this movie bothers me to the core. And I'm sure that it's like that for a lot of horror fans. I'm sure that every one of you has a story about the first time you saw this movie. This movie cripples me. Always has, always will, and it is the epitome of horror for me. I had a hard time not putting this at number 1 because it's such an impactful movie on me that I just felt like it belonged at number 1. But there's another 1989 horror film that I like just a little bit more. But if you haven't seen Pet Sematary, buckle up, sit down, watch this movie, and prepare to feel all of the emotions. It is a heavy movie, and I feel like it left this stain on the horror genre. You might not have even seen this movie, but you know about this movie. Everyone knows about this movie. It's just how it is. It has sort of snuck its way into pop culture and into just every horror fanatic's brain. So it had to make my list. But moving on to my number 1 horror film from 1989 is Wes Craven's Shaka! Shaka!
Hey, what the fuck?
This was Wes Craven's attempt at recreating a new horror icon, his next Freddy Krueger, if you will. Unfortunately, things didn't go his way, and this movie never picked up the steam or the respect that it deserves. But here, in 3B Video, we fucking love this movie. Mitch Pileggi, Peter Berg, Ted Raimi, again, makes his way into this list. This is just a super fun slasher movie with all of those weird Craven things that he works his way into every movie. Is it a nightmare? Is it real life? I'm not sure. Am I awake? Am I interacting with a dream? Am I interacting with electricity? Who knows? It's a weird hodgepodge of a horror movie, but I feel like only certain Craven fans really respect this movie. He's got a handful of movies that don't get talked about as much as they deserve to be talked about. And we almost had a new Freddy Krueger, folks. We were this fucking close. And that sucks, because I would love to see Shocker 2, 3, 4, 28 if they made it happen. Somebody do a reboot of this movie. I'm all for that. Let's have a reboot of Shocker. Can't say enough good things about this movie. It's fan-fucking-tastic. I stand up on my mountaintop, I scream about this movie every goddamn chance I get. So if you're one of the people who is a longtime subscriber to this channel and you haven't watched Shocker yet, what are you doing? I've been screaming at you for 2 years. Go see this movie. If you're new here and you haven't seen Shocker, I'm gonna talk about it for 2 more years. So go see this movie. Give it the respect it deserves. Please, please, go pick up the Shout Factory Special Edition of it.
They're not our sponsors yet.
But do that. Get this movie. Love this movie. Come tell me you love this movie. Because I know you will. But on that note, I suppose I should probably get going, because after all, there's a lot of movies out there. Somebody's got to watch them. So why not me? Right? Woo! Oh, and if you're still here, let me tell you about something that we just did for you guys. And I suppose for us. Is it selfish? I don't know. I don't know what it is. Either way, here you go, guys. We started our own P.O. box. So you guys can send us letters. You guys can send us gifts. Whatever your heart desires. Pipe bombs, don't do that. Hair dolls or whatever weird things, booger collections. Don't send me that stuff. Send me fun stuff. Because every month we're going to do an unboxing video of everything that you guys send to us. So many people have hit us up and asked us for our address, but we don't really have one place where we get mail because we're a team and we're all spread out. So we started this P.O. box so you could mail us stuff and we could do videos shouting you guys out. So send all your hooplery to 3B Video, P.O. Box 514, Shenandoah, Iowa 51601, and I'll open it up and look at it. That being said, I'm gonna go check the mailbox. See you later. Bye.